Hi everybody, I'm Jared Pike. This is Shell Point Today for the weekend of September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. On today's show, Paul Yacovitch describes how Shell Point leads the way in recycling, with much of it behind the scenes. But first, it may seem like we're still in the heat of summer, but flu season is coming fast. Flu shots change every year, and this year's formulations of flu shots are arriving at the medical center next week. So mark it on your calendar, next Saturday, September 28th, from 8 a.m. to 12 noon in the medical center on the island. To get your free flu shot, all you need to do is bring your insurance card and fill out a few forms, and you'll be in and out with this year's flu shot. Again, that's next Saturday morning, September 28th. We'll remind you about it again as we get closer to that date. Now this month, we've been highlighting the importance of recycling and how you can combine all your household recyclable items into one bin without the need to separate glass, plastic, metal, and paper. Now, Shell Point is actually an industry leader when it comes to recycling. And not just of the small items you may think of, like paper or metal, but also of water, grass and other yard waste, petroleum products, and many other items that Shell Point uses in bulk behind the scenes. I talked to Paul Yacovitch to learn more. Hi everybody, it's Jared Pike with Shell Point TV, and today we're talking about recycling. Now, with a community the size of Shell Point, there's a lot to be responsible for. Not just caring for residents, but also caring for the facilities. And with this many people, recycling and trash is a big, big deal. And you'd be surprised how much recycling goes on here at Shell Point. And to talk about it is Paul Yacovitch. Paul, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoy always speaking with you, and I welcome the opportunity to talk about one of the major operations that we have here at Shell Point, and that is recycling.
And it's more than just residents putting things in a bin. Shell Point as a whole, as a community and corporate culture, recycling is big. It
is huge here. We do more than just recycle things that the residents would use. It's generally everything that's consumable here at Shell Point is recycled. We're talking about paper, plastic, glass, cardboard, cans, batteries, tires, fluorescent bulbs, electronic components, steel and other construction waste, landscape, horticulture, and petroleum-based products. I think I have them all. We have nearly 50 tons of cardboard that was recycled, for instance, last year at Shell Point. And certainly we exceed over 300 tons of recyclables that we just pull out of the residential areas every day. We have this responsibility we take very seriously. For instance, Lee County mandated back in 2007 that all businesses have to mandatorily recycle. At the time we got that mandate from Lee County, we are well ahead of and always pushing for that green label here at Shell Point. So we're very, very, very proud of what we do here. And it's always a pleasure and sometimes a requirement, I should say, that we talk about recycling at Shell Point, because we have a constant flow of new residents in, and we always like to update them on what it is that they can and cannot recycle. The nuances of recycling, such as it's okay to commingle. We don't recycle styrofoam. Those little facts that the property managers will address and take care of are important facts here. But the one thing I want to get across, we're very excited about our recycling program here. Very active, very effective on the scale that you mentioned earlier on. It's immense, when you look at the tonnage that we move here every year.
And again, it's more than just putting things in a bin. Shell Point goes through consumables, as you say, at a huge rate. Things like petroleum products or tires or office paper, like here in this office. This all gets recycled. It's part of Shell Point's corporate culture.
That's exactly right.
And you were part of that. You've been a part of that for many years here at Shell Point, and we appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that. I've sort of grown with Shell Point, as has the recycling program. And it's, again, we pride ourselves on being a green community.
Right. Now, there are some things that people would never think to be recycled, but that you mentioned, for instance, grass clippings and other things like that. Name some of the unique things on that list that people wouldn't think that could be recycled.
One of the big questions that we get are batteries. The point we like to make that it's okay to recycle regular alkaline batteries, but those other type batteries, the types that are rechargeable, etc., we provide little boxes in the recycling trash rooms for that. We recycle fluorescent bulbs. People don't realize the impact that just tossing away our fluorescent has on the environment. The things that we don't want to see recycled is trash. Again, the immense, we physically manhandle every one of those receptacles. And if there's trash in any of those recycling bins, it's very difficult for our techs to stop, separate the two, and move on. So they generally will, depending on what's in there, handle that recycling bin as trash if the trash is commingled.
So, Paul, we have multiple neighborhoods here at Shell Point: Island, Woodlands, Eagles Preserve. We have multiple departments, both landscaping and housekeeping, and you have your finger on the pulse of all of that. And recycling takes place everywhere at Shell Point, and it's a big deal. I saw the stat that we recycled twice as much as we did 5 years ago, and it's only going to get bigger as we get more people.
That's true.
So, folks, recycling is a priority. You heard it from Paul Yacovitch, and you heard it here on Shell Point TV. So, make it your priority as well. I'm Jared Pike. If you have any questions about what you can or can't recycle, consult the recycling checklist, which is posted in every trash room at Shell Point. Or you can call the call center at 454-2190 for more detailed information. Now, coming up, we are replaying some of the week's best stories from Shell Point TV. But before we do that, let's cover all of this weekend's happenings: Academy news, menus, and church news.
Welcome to the Happenings segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley here with Suzanne Savada, and we're going to go over the activities offered through Resort Services for you folks here today. At 8:15, we have the Stamp Ministry group. They'll be in the stamp room down in the tunnel. All volunteers are welcome. At 8:30 to 11:30, we have the Marketplace in the administration courtyard, and that's always fun, so you should head down for that. At 9 o'clock, we have the Round Robin Men's Doubles Tennis down at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. 9:30 is the time Susie Cuba will head out to Barnacle Fields for lunch. Sign-up is required. At 10 o'clock, we have Canasta. That'll be in the game room of the Woodlands. At 12:30, we start the afternoon off with Mixed Progressive Bridge. That'll be in the game room of the Woodlands. Then we have 1:15 table tennis down in the Tarpon room. Also at 1:15, the Quilters will be in the Osprey room on the island. Then we have a 1:30 Vespers. That'll be in the community room of the Arbor. At 2 o'clock, they'll play euchre in the Sable room down at the Woodlands. And then we have a second Vespers at 2:45. That'll be in the community room of King's Crown. Then we jump to 6:45, where you'll find game night at the Resident Activity Center down on the island. And at 7 o'clock, you're invited to go to the reception for John Stumbo, who's the president of the Christian and Missionary Alliance. That'll be in the Grand Cypress room at the Woodlands. And now here's Suzanne for your Saturday lineup.
We'll start Saturday off at 8 o'clock with the Round Robin Men's Doubles Tennis Group meeting out at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. At 9:30, we have the Cruisin' Fort Myers Thrift Stores trip. Court pickups will begin at 9:30 on the island, 9:40 at the Woodlands, and 9:50 at Eagles Preserve. Sign-up is required. At 9:45, we have Duplicate Bridge in the Manatee Room on the island. And at 10:15, the Model Yacht Sailing Club will be out at the Commons Lake at the Woodlands. At 1 o'clock, chess will be played in the Library Lounge of the Resident Activity Center. And at 1:15, we have table tennis in the Tarpon Room, and the room will be available all weekend unless otherwise noted. At 3:15, basic line dancing will take place in the Health Club on the island. And at 6:30, we have Duplicate Bridge being played in the Manatee Room on the island. That's all for Saturday. Now let's go to Bev for Sunday.
Thanks, Suzanne. On Sunday morning, we start out at 9 o'clock with Christian Life Studies. That'll be in the game room of the Woodlands. And then at 9:15, we have Christian Life Studies at the Village Church. 10:15 is the time we have our morning worship service at the Village Church, and it's also broadcast live on ShellPoint TV, Channel 12. At 2 o'clock, we have the Mixed Golf League at the ShellPoint Golf Club. Then we have a 6:15 evening service at the Village Church. Before I close today, I want to say one thing. I want to say thank you to Miss Suzanne Savada for being with us here at ShellPoint. She is leaving us, but the good news is she's getting married and moving to Orlando. So this will be the last time you'll see Suzanne on ShellPoint TV. So good luck to you.
Thank you.
And we'll miss you.
Hi, I'm Terry Koleth with your Academy information for the weekend. On Friday, court pickup begins at 8:30 in the morning for our Academy on the Go educational field trip. The destination is Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation Marine Laboratory, where you will find out what happens there. Sign up is required. At 9 o'clock, our Life Review and Reminiscence class continues in the Buttonwood Room of the Woodlands. Next week, we have some interesting classes coming up. On Monday, we have Beautiful Science 9, where our employee chaplain, Don Stainhook, continues to share with us this late-breaking scientific information. And then on Tuesday, Professor Adrian Kerr presents the story of India. We also have an Apple iPad Tips and Techniques class with Penny Modridge of Nautilus, and Designing and Making Greeting Cards with a Hallmark program. This Level 2 class is presented by two Lakewood residents, Lois Sheehan and Carolyn Zanoniani. Then on Wednesday, you can call it potpourri or call it hodgepodge. Either way, it's a legacy seminar. And then on Thursday, we will have Organize Your Hard Drive. Dean Traxler of Rosemont is our instructor. We also have Fun with Notes and Messages, Debbie Kerr of Rosemont.
Menus for your weekend. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter on Friday is fish and chips with coleslaw. For dinner, it's the seafood buffet for $14.95, and the soup of the day is lentil. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Friday, enjoy a fish sandwich with fries for $6.95. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $7.95. On Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Saturday, enjoy a beef and cheese melt with fruit for $6.95. The dinner special is chicken cordon bleu with mashed potatoes and broccoli for $7.95. On Sunday, the Crystal Room features its Sunday brunch for $17.50. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Sunday, the special is fresh fruit with cottage cheese, sliced tomato, and a hamburger patty for $6.95. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $7.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with Glenda Stephenson, who's our church administrator, and we're here to talk about the weekend events, the worship services on Sunday. And we have a really great opportunity this Sunday morning as well. I get to take a little bit of a break from preaching, actually, but tell us about our guest speaker.
We are so thrilled to be able to have the new president for the Christian Missionary Alliance, Dr. John Stumbo, with us. We are having a reception on Friday night with him that we've invited folks to come to.
That's right.
And then Sunday morning, he will be bringing us the message of the morning, an opportunity for him to share his heart. And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's always a wonderful opportunity to get acquainted with the heart of the man who's now been appointed to lead the denomination with which the Village Church is associated. And it's important to recognize that while obviously we are a church that functions rather independently, as most churches do, we do have connections all across the globe with activities that are associated with the Christian and Missionary Alliance. And so to hear from his heart will be an especially exciting opportunity for us.
He is a very good communicator, and I don't know that I've ever heard him speak that I wasn't moved.
That's right, absolutely. And it's going to be a great worship service, as our worship services usually are. What's going on with the music and the choir, for instance?
Well, the choir will be singing an anthem based on Psalm 91, and the title is "My Trust is in My God."
Yeah.
Wonderful title for an anthem of worship.
Absolutely. And it's always exciting to get back into this time of the year. Obviously people are returning from the north, and the choir is up and running, has been for a few weeks now.
And growing a little bit every week.
Growing every week, and so we're excited about that. And then in Sunday evening, I guess the message is bring your umbrellas, because we're still going to talk about Noah.
For a few more weeks.
For a few more weeks. And hopefully it doesn't always rain on Sunday evenings when we do that. But we're in the part of the study of Noah in which the flood has come and gone. And Noah and his family have emerged from the ark. And now we have God sort of reassigning the same kind of mandates that he gave to the original couple at creation, what theologians call the cultural mandate, in which he describes how human beings are to function in this world. And so that's where we are in the story, and I think it's a pretty significant dimension of the story, and I'm looking forward to speaking about it.
Sounds wonderful. Redemption is always God's purpose.
That's right.
So, appreciate that.
Well, thank you for joining us for Village Church Connections. We hope to see you this Sunday. And if we don't see you in person, perhaps we will be able to see you through the miracle of Shell Point Television, either in one of the services that take place in the assisted living facilities, King's Crown, or in the Arbor, or in the Pavilion, or even in your own homes. We hope to see you again. So blessings to all of you, and we'll hope to see you again very soon.
It's time for our Shell Point TV Week in Review. And to guide us along is my colleague, Kara Minoui. Kara.
Thank you, Jared. We begin this week with a visit to square dancing class, which happens every Monday evening in the Island Health Club.
My name is Jane Johnston, and I live at Lucina.
How long have you lived at Shell Point?
2 weeks. I was very excited when I heard we were starting to square dance. I haven't danced in about 40 years. I think everybody's really getting back into it.
I didn't square dance much, but I was a music teacher in the public schools. I taught the children how to do it. And kept one lesson ahead, but it was fun, and they were pretty good. They got to be pretty good at it.
When I was into it about 40 years ago, I do remember how much fun it was, and it was a lot of fun. It's a fun activity.
Ruth Taylor, 90 years old. I haven't danced since 71. When I went home, I was just walking on air. I just thought, oh, this is wonderful.
The dance itself is very simple. It requires 8 people for a square, 4 couples. The do-si-do is passing, you face your partner and you pass right shoulders. And then we do an Allemande left, which you face your corner, grasp forearms, and go around in a circle back to your partner. Then we have a grand right and left. You grasp your partner's right hand, and then you just alternate arms coming around the square. And then the last step is a promenade, and that you hold hands and just go around the circle to come back to your home position. Right now we have a DVD, which is really working well because we get a lesson and then a dance. And we can repeat the lesson as many times as we want to till we're comfortable.
DVD that we use, I mean, it just takes you right from step one. And anybody can learn that. It's very easy to learn.
It's not that hard. No, it's I think they could pick it up. Back in Indiana, I think we was a little faster at dancing. They swing you around.
And we have 2 people dancing who've never, ever square danced or heard a caller before. One of them is my husband. And so this is great fun, and I'm sure you all could tell it's just wonderful exercise and a fun way to exercise. The ladies and I have been talking about is we miss our petticoats. We got to wear all those petticoats and flounce your skirt around, and if you watch some of the ladies, they are flipping their skirts a little bit. That's part of square dancing.
I can't imagine anyone trying it and not liking it. Good, clean fun, and it's
You meet a lot of nice people.
The group is great. Oh yes, they're all so friendly, and yeah, I enjoy it.
We like the exercise. That's another thing.
It's good, clean fun, and it's really healthy for us to get our heart rates up and to try all these different tasks. So it's really good. Monday nights at 7 o'clock. It's absolutely free. And the company's great.
The bells of the Village Church Carillon are ringing once again, thanks to a gift from Jim and Nicole Ryan.
I came to visit my sister. I was by myself with my 3 sons. And working in Boston, I had to go through Weston. Well, Jim lived in Weston right around the corner from my sister and was my brother-in-law's best friend. So they decided we should meet each other, but Jim didn't think he wanted to meet me. So my sister, on my birthday, had us for dinner, but didn't tell either one of us. And I went home, and probably about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and by 11 o'clock, he was on the phone and asked me if I could have a date. By May of '89, we were married. Our first experience was actually one of Jim's cousins. She lived at the Landings. We liked it so much, we looked at places, we looked at houses, but we walked into where we are now. My mother, Dolly, Jim, and I walked in the front door. I took one look around like this. I looked at Jim and I said, I don't care what it costs, buy it. So we're in it. My mother's real name was Ruth, but she never used it. It was always Dolly. She was born in Montclair, New Jersey, and she was born September 6, 1915. Couldn't do something, she'd go to the library, get a book, teach herself. So she taught herself canning, she taught herself sewing, and she was like a tailor. She really was advanced at it. She taught herself upholstery, very sweet and giving. So she moved in when she was 90. She moved here because Syracuse is very cold. You can't be out in the winters, and she really loved what we did down here, and we thought she'd really enjoy it. And she loved Sundial. Most of the people that are in Sundial know she loved to do puzzles, and that was because that keeps the brain active. She was really with it the whole time she was here. She cooked for herself, did everything. And she ended up at the Pavilion, and we all like music, so even in her wheelchair we'd bring her over for the music. But she loved the carillon, and that's how we got into the carillon. Every time she took us to Europe, it was always, we're going to the cathedrals. Well, guess why? Because there were bells and carillons and that type of thing, and that's what she loved.
We were visiting a professor on the New North campus at the University of Michigan, and it turned out he had an interest in music and asked if we did. I said I did, and I played the cello. And he took us up because he was familiar with the carillon. He took us up into the cabin where the carillonneur runs the carillon. It was completely mechanical. It wasn't anything electronic about it. There were the bells, here were the pegs that you pressed your fist on, and the bells came up.
So then when Mother passed away here, we wanted to do something. Randy said, now we have an idea for you. How about a carillon? Oh, my ears perked right up when I thought, carillon, the one that doesn't work anymore, we'll do it.
In '07, when Dolly got here,
yeah,
we did hear it. I don't know exactly when it stopped being used, but we heard it for a while. It was very nice. And by the way, the same speakers are used now that were used then, and they just lay idle while they didn't have something to drive them.
She missed them, and she had asked us, and I said, I have no idea why they don't play. I didn't know they were sort of like on a tape. Now they'll be digital, so now they won't be running around having to pull the little pegs and push the little pegs. And Randy just has to go in there and just do that computer, click, 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 and it's all done. So Randy got it in time for Mother's birthday, which was September 6th. So we came over and listened. So here we are. So we chose it actually not just for my mother, but my mother and father and Jim's mother and father. We grew up and loved music. Everybody in the family loved music. Everybody in Jim's family loved music. Oh, it's wonderful. We get the view of the cross, which is fabulous. I mean, at night it's just beautiful because it's, you know, has the light on it. It's a nice place. It'll be lovely to hear it, and I think the community, as I said, joyful noise unto the Lord. I mean, I really meant that. I think they've missed it, and I think they're not even aware, like that day, they weren't even aware that it was playing, but they were aware it was playing. So it's a nice gift, and we felt that was something Shell Point really needed, and it was for the whole community. It'll play special things for probably 4th of July, all the holidays, and that's up to Randy. All I'm going to do is listen. That's what we like, really enjoy it. We think it'll bring a lot of joy.
Staff dietitian Linda Rakos is offering a comprehensive review of all the modern diet programs out there. Is there one that works for you? Let's find out more.
I'm Mary Franklin, here today with Linda Rakos, the Assistant Director of Hospitality Services and our on-staff nutritionalist. We're talking about an upcoming Health Connections program called Popular Diet Review and the Total Diet Approach for Healthy Living, which is so important to each and every one of us. This program is going to take place on Wednesday, September 25th in the Social Center at 10:15 a.m. and it costs just $5 per person to get all of this wonderful information. Linda, thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me, Mary.
So, why does everybody diet?
Oh my goodness. Well, weight loss is such a big topic of discussion, and based on the dietary guidelines studies that have been done that brought us the 2010 guidelines, it was determined that 66% of us here in the United States are overweight. So that gives you a pretty good idea why so many people are considering losing weight.
So of course the business people, they want to throw everything at us, and they see that as an opportunity to make money on us. How do I, as a consumer, decide who to listen to?
Yes, well, that's a very good question, and you'll see on television and the newspapers and everything you read, there's a magic pill, there's a can of this, drink this, eat this, don't eat that, and you really have to consider all the information and get down to the bottom line and see, first of all, if they're just trying to sell you something, or do they really have some good evidence-based information for you. And that's the kind of information that we're going to talk about when we present this seminar.
Okay. And it probably is something you want to talk to about with your physician or a nutritionalist, because your health issues may also, and medicines and so forth, may tell you to eat one way or another.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is no such thing as a good food or a bad food. It's really, when you get down to the bottom line, but I don't want to give away the conclusion of our class, we really want to consider a total diet approach to eating healthy.
Right.
And I think our LifeQuest programs really tie into that topic, so I'm really excited about tying this all together for our residents here at Shell Point.
And with that LifeQuest menu, you didn't just go to one source. You used the American Heart Association guidelines, the USDA guidelines, and one more?
Many.
Many.
We reviewed all the current information and tried to come up with something that made sense for us here at Shell Point.
Right. Well, it is that rough waters that we all sometimes have to go over, but you're going to give out some very important information and great tips for everyone to use.
Well, we're hoping to.
Right. So come to this program on Wednesday, September 25th in the Social Center at 10:15. You can sign up at either of the service desk, and I know that you will walk away and want to have one of those LifeQuest menu items, or go home and make yourself a nice and healthy meal afterwards.
Absolutely.
I'm Mary Franklin with Glenda. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Mark Tesoro works for Lee Memorial Health System, specializing in preventing falls. Here, he details the positive actions you can take to avoid becoming the victim of a fall.
Falls are not a normal part of aging. Falls are not a normal. Do not let somebody tell you that you are 80 years old, you are going to fall. It's part of growing older. That is not true. If you are falling, there's a reason you're falling. You need to identify why you're falling, what's going on, and you need to try to alleviate some of those potential causes as best you can. Why should you care? 1 out of 3 seniors, 1 out of 3, if you look left and right, 1 out of 3 seniors fall every year. 20% of those who do fall so badly that they're hospitalized. And half of those that are hospitalized pass away within a year. Something like that is happening once every 3 days in this county. Once every 3 days. If it was a disease, it would be an epidemic, and people would be outraged. And it is an outrage. We should try to figure out how to avoid this. The smart folks will be the ones that catch the cycle before it even starts. And that's what this is about. What are some of the risk factors? Well, vision. The American Ophthalmological Society suggests by the age 40, you need to have a full vision screen. That does not mean just getting your prescription checked. That means going and getting checked for diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, cataracts, right? Macular degeneration, all of those conditions. It's not just getting your prescription done. You have to have a whole full screen, right? What you want to do is have your vision age in a healthy manner along with the rest of you. And the quicker you can identify a problem with your vision, they could get some medication on board, and the more effective that medication is, the quicker you catch it. Other medical problems that can lead to falls, right? Strokes. If you've had a stroke or know somebody that's had a stroke, you realize that one side of the body tends to be a little weaker than the other side of the body. Also, blood pressure problems. Either very high blood pressure or low blood pressure, either direction, right? People usually think high blood pressure. It's either high or low can cause problems. So make sure you get your blood pressure checked. Imbalance. First thing people think of when they think of falls, right? People, when they do fall, they tend to kind of shut themselves out and put themselves on a couch and are so afraid of falling again, they kind of hibernate a little bit, right? And that's a problem. And the problem with that is that you start to lose your strength, you start to lose the skills that you have by trying to, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're kind of trying to prevent something, but you're actually causing it. Right? You're actually causing it in the long run. So by staying on the couch and being fearful of going out and doing things again, you're actually losing that strength, losing that ability to kind of catch yourself, and your muscles start to atrophy a little bit, and you start to actually fall more frequently if you do that kind of thing. So the first thing you really need to think about is just try to do your best to get out there and stay active. If you see somebody standing with a very wide stance, probably a balance issue. If they have to stand very wide. If you see people walking from piece of furniture to piece of furniture, right? Have you seen that? Yeah. Probably a balance issue. But if you know people and have seen people move like this, trust me, it's important to go and say something to them, even if it's embarrassing. Because it's more embarrassing to see somebody in the emergency room or in a hospital bed than to say something to them that maybe you should get checked out. Drug interactions. All of them have potential side effects, right? And it doesn't mean you're going to have them, but the potential is there, right? The potential is there. Do not feel like if you're taking medication and you have dizziness, confusion, impaired mental status, sleepiness, that you're going to push through it. This is the way it's going to be. This is how it has to be. And this is the way the rest of my life is going to have to be. I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be like that. There are things people can do to reduce the side effects of those medications. By all means, absolutely tell people what you're on, even if it seems insignificant. And I mean aspirins and everything else. Make sure everybody knows what you're on. Footwear is implicated in 50% of the falls that we see. 50%. Who can give me some examples of bad footwear? Flip-flops. Absolutely. This is definitely bad footwear, right? High heels. Very good. Ladies, please do not be fashion victims, okay? This is a good shoe because it has what's called a high heel collar up top here, right? High heel collar, lightweight, slip-resistant sole, a good tightening, fastening mechanism up top, right? Not something you just kind of slip on and can possibly slip off, okay? Again, not that attractive. Find a good-looking one and use it. Assistive devices, and I have to tell you, It makes my heart flutter when I see people coming in with their walkers and canes and are using these things. Fantastic. But if you're not sure how to use it, if it's not fitted properly, the device itself can actually cause a fall, right? If it's not being done correctly, you need to be aware of those things. Living space and environment. 60% of the time, remember, something's going to happen there. There are, I want to say, 100 things in the home that could potentially cause a fall. Throw rugs, first thing usually everybody thinks about. What else? Some water on a hard surface, right? You get some viscosity there and you go. Steps are definitely an issue. When you trip on a staircase, think about when you've fallen on a staircase. If you fall on a staircase, you usually fall on the first few stairs or the last few stairs. But you usually get a rhythm kind of going in between the stairs, right? So if you have some balance issues, or if you're concerned about falling, pay particular attention to those first couple of stairs and those last couple of stairs. How about lighting? Ladies and gentlemen, you should not be crossing a dark room to turn on a light, okay? There should be a light right next to your bed. Lighting is a huge, huge issue. What about pets? Pets, a Chihuahua will take you out as quickly as a Great Dane. Right? Does not have to be a giant dog, right? A little cat, take you right out. Take you right out, right? How about using step stools? Ladies, if you are using things in the kitchen frequently, by all means, don't put them as high as you can put them. Put them where you can get at them frequently, so you don't have to use a step stool. Getting out of a chair or getting out of a bed. What we ask people to do is to kind of tilt over, put their feet on the floor, count to 10 when getting out of bed. Give yourself just 10 seconds. Count to 10, let your body kind of acclimate, and then get yourself up. Just don't throw yourself out of bed or a chair, especially if you get dizzy easily and those kinds of things. Level of activity. Level of activity. People, this is usually one that people know of already. They need to stay active for their strength and balance. Now, that does not mean you have to do marathons and triathlons and powerlifting. 25 minutes of activity a day. And I'll even take 10, 10, 5. Right? Don't even have to do 25 in a row. I just want you to do something other than sitting on the couch or watching TV or doing those kinds of things. Need to stay active. We want to say goodbye to falls altogether. Annual physical exam, right? Should be a no-brainer. No-brainer. Should be getting an annual physical exam anyway, right? So that shouldn't be something that's hard to do. Vision check. Like we said, a full vision screen. Full vision screen. Not just your prescription lenses. Not just your prescription lenses. A whole vision screen. So make sure you get a good vision screen. Medication review. Go over your medications with your doctor. See what needs to stay on board, what might be able to come off on board if you haven't had symptoms for a very long time. Blood pressure check. It's easy to do now. Safety checklist. Go through the house, take a look, see what can be switched, what can be done. Make sure lighting is good. Make sure your home is safe. Become more active. We said try to make sure that you're breaking that 25 minutes of activity a day. And a balance evaluation. Again, it's more embarrassing to visit somebody in the hospital than to ask them if they need to have somebody check their balance out. You now know 99.9% more than your neighbor about how to prevent falls and what things can cause falls. So please share your knowledge with them, let them know what's going on, make sure that they're safe because we're all in this together to try to reduce those numbers.
Dr. Stephen Lakees is coming to Shell Point to discuss plastic surgery of the eyes. Let's find out more.
I'm Mary Franklin, and I'm here today with Dr. Lakees, and we're going to be talking about advances in oculoplastic surgery. He'll be in the Social Center on Thursday, September 26th at 2:15 in the Social Center. And if you'd like to go, you can stop by either service desk to make your reservation. Dr. Lakees, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, I know you've been out to Shell Point before.
Yes.
And many of our residents have had you as their doctor.
Yes.
But let's start from the beginning and tell us a little bit about you and your practice.
Well, I am an oculoplastic surgeon, originally from Trinidad, which is an island in the Caribbean, but I've done my training in ophthalmology at Yale University, and then I did my oculoplastics training at Vanderbilt University. Shortly thereafter, I moved to Fort Myers and opened up practice, and I've been here now for 11 years. Okay. Oculoplastic surgery is a small subspecialty of eye surgery where we deal with everything around and behind the eyes, most commonly the eyelids. And uncommonly, things like the orbit or eye socket and the tear system and so on.
Now, that eyelid surgery that you just mentioned, a lot of residents have had that, and that's not, some people say, oh, it's cosmetic. That can be a medical issue, correct?
Right. Upper eyelid surgery most of the time is medical if the heaviness of the upper eyelid affects part of the peripheral vision. So the way that you figure that out is you come to the office or your ophthalmologist's office and you do a peripheral vision exam. And if there is enough obstruction from the heaviness of the upper eyelids, many times it's covered.
And that can happen gradual over time, so you may not even realize it.
Exactly.
So you really want to have that taken care of.
Exactly, a very gradual process. Most people don't realize it. Their eyes may start to feel tired or heavy. You may feel like you need to raise your eyebrows to see better, or you get more light in. Or you start to actually see the extra fold of skin on the eyelid and, obstructing the vision, and then, it's time to do something.
Right. And when I look in the eyes of my father, and then I look at my eyes in the mirror, I can see that it's happening. You were saying this is hereditary?
Right. It is very hereditary. So if your mom or dad had heavy eyelids, most likely you would also, and you tend to have it done at a younger age.
Okay. The other surgeries you do, are they elective surgeries, or are they more you've had a trauma or something happen to your eye?
We do some cosmetic surgeries, involving the eyelids and brows, and we do things like Botox and fillers, but we also do a lot of trauma and reconstructive work around the eyes. We do uncommon things like tumors that grow behind the eyes, or skin cancers around the eyes that dermatologists may refer over if they're not comfortable working so close to the eye.
Now, we got to let the crowd in on a secret. You're going to have a model from Shell Point be on hand?
Yes, one of the Shell Point residents, who's actually a patient of mine, has volunteered to be a model for dermal fillers, a live model, so that should be interesting.
Well, that's good. That will make the program even more special than it already is. Who should be coming? How do you know you should come find out about all of these surgeries?
Well, I think this talk probably pertains to everybody, because sometimes you may know you have the condition, sometimes you may not, so it'd be interesting just to come and get some information and see if there's anything that could help you, with your eyes, your sight, or even cosmetically.
Well, thank you for being here today. And if you would like to sign up for this eye-opening program, do so at either service desk. It will take place again on Thursday, September 26th at 2:15 p.m. in the Social Center. For Dr. Lakis, I'm Mary Franklin. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Don Stainhook sees intelligent robots in your future. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Don Stainhook, employee chaplain here at Shell Point Retirement Community. Every semester, Don shares his enjoyment and knowledge of the scientific world by bringing us specific TED Talks and sharing them with us. Thanks for joining me, Don.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, this is number 9. I cannot believe we've done 9 semesters.
I know.
I have learned so much. I'm sure we all have. And this one, an intelligent robot. What is this all about?
We're moving into an era of what's termed artificial intelligence. And in many ways, human capability has been magnified in different ways before. I was going to bring with me this morning, for instance, my favorite tool, which is a vice grips. And a vice grips, I can use that will magnify the strength of my hand so I can grip something, okay? Doesn't mean that it's stronger than me, it just means it's a tool that I can use. I could take out my cell phone and I could turn on the calculator, and that calculator can do math a lot quicker than I can do it in my head. But again, it's a tool that you use. But we're moving into an area where the computers are becoming so sophisticated that it's not only that they can be designed for a specific task, but they can be designed for pattern recognition, so that with the massive amount of data that is now available in the computing world, it can analyze all of the different data and see how they interrelate with each other. For instance, we're used to, we can get in our car and we can turn on a Garmin or something like that, and it will give us the path to get from point A to point B. But within the next few years, it's not only going to give us a path that they determine from the maps, it's going to take real-time data from traffic patterns and not only give us a way to get from point A to point B, but also a way to get there the most quickly.
So, your vice grip or your cell phone, you tell it what you want to know.
Right.
Is that the difference? with this future artificial intelligence that we're getting into, is someone still going to be calling the shots with these robots?
We are and we aren't. Within 10 years, there's going to be cars on the market that will drive us independently from point A to point B. They've already tested that in California in real traffic conditions where you just put in your address and it will take you there. And it will obey the traffic laws and it will avoid traffic and it will get you safely from point A to point B. So you're going to be putting some input into it, like for instance the robot that you can get now that will clean your carpet and all of that. You can program it for how many times a week you want it to do that. You can program it for what time of the day you want to do that. You can try to get your pet accustomed to the fact that this thing is running around your house and the dogs and cats will be chasing it. That's a problem they haven't worked out yet. But we're going to wind up putting less input into the artificial intelligent devices that we're going to be using in the future. Somebody else has done the programming for us and has determined the needs so that, for instance, a robot in your home 15 years from now is going to come to awareness of what time you get up usually, what time you want to have breakfast served, what kind of food you need. They're going to be monitoring your blood pressure and your nutrition, and they will design your diet and produce a shopping list that's specifically designed for your health needs and your nutritional needs. Amazing. Now, you can tell such a device that you want to lose 5 pounds, and it will automatically not only encourage you to get on the treadmill and monitor how much exercise you're getting, but will also monitor your diet in terms of what you're being fed.
How many people, how much is going into this field? How much of our research money, how much of our focus?
Well, in the military right now, for instance, we've all heard of the drones that are operated from people in Colorado Springs and other places on the ground. But they now have drones that are self-determining. They can put them in the air and they can give them criteria, and the drone, when it meets that criteria, it's not authorized yet, but it's in the not too distant future that the drone will be making the decision whether or not to fire the weapon. Now, you need to understand that any decision-making process that you and I engage in is a series of sequential steps. And anything that is done in sequential steps can be programmed. Years ago, I enjoyed going into a department store where they used to have these handheld devices that would play chess. And they'd have them there for demonstration, and I'd pick it up, and I always won. Recently, a couple months ago, for $29, I downloaded some chess software to my computer at home. And I can't get 10 moves into the game without being a piece short. Now, this particular program is the first program that beat a grandmaster, and I'm far from a grandmaster. Now, is that computer smarter than I am? Well, it's got access to all the libraries of opening moves that I used to research. It's got ability to analyze 7 moves in advance. And I don't really think that I'm ever going to beat it, but I'll learn from it.
Now, with directions, with drones, with all of that, what are the ethical implications, and who's looking at that?
Well, for instance, the situation in Syria. They're not putting this on the news, but it wouldn't surprise me if there weren't a lot of drones flying in the air monitoring where the weapons are being relocated so that they can be targeted if, in fact, we decide to do that. The human decision for that has to be made. If it's programmed by a machine, then the person doing the programming or the person that authorizes the use of the machine takes the ethical responsibility. It's the same ethical responsibility as if they decide to push a button and launch a cruise missile.
Well, thank you so much, Don, on behalf of everybody who comes to TED Talks and everybody who hears you just tell us what you're thinking about the artificial intelligence that we talked about today. Very much appreciated. Now, Don's class is again going to be in the Grand Cypress Room. This is all going to take place within less than an hour and a half, so it's a very focused time with Don Steinhook and TED Talks, this time Beautiful Science 9, 10 to 11:30, Monday, September 23rd. I hope you're there with us.
Residents of the Springs recently made lovely pieces of art out of recycled materials. Here's what it looked like.
We had an art show in July, and it was resident and employee, and the residents did a fabulous job with all the different creations they have done in the past or have been recently done. And our resident, Nancy Perry, actually created recycled art, which we then turned into a craft we're doing today. It was amazing because she got toilet paper rolls and created these beautiful crosses and flowers or snowflakes or stars or whatever you want to call them, and they turned into absolutely beautiful creations that could be hung and used as decor. So once the residents saw them at the art show, they wanted to make them, so that's what we're doing today.
I wanted to recycle, so I came up with this wonderful idea when I went online and found out how to do it. My children said to me, "You're going to have all of Florida saving toilet paper rolls."
Well, I'm trying to make a coconut palm with these coconuts that are getting ripe. It is coming together. Coconuts are giving me a hard time. Well, because I love palm trees. I have kind of a palm theme in my apartment, and I learned that there are like 297 types of palms, of which I only know about 5.
It's kind of fun to do it, and I've used glue guns for long before Skylar was even born. I started using glue guns. I love crafts of any kind, and so this is something new and different.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in next week for more stories and news from around your community.
Until then, this is Shell Point Today for the weekend of September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. I'm Jared Pike.
And I'm Kara Minowie. From all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.